Airports look calm on the surface, but the hour before a flight is where most travelers unknowingly step into danger. One tiny habit, one rushed decision, one detail you overlook without thinking, and suddenly you're delayed, flagged, or pulled from your flight before you even reach the gate. These mistakes feel harmless in the moment, but their consequences hit fast and hard. What you're about to learn isn't basic travel advice. These are the hidden pre-flight traps that even experienced flyers still fall for, the kind that can shut down your trip before it even begins. Mistake 1, the tiny bag mistake that ends trips fast. Most travelers walk into the airport feeling prepared. Bags organized, documents ready, everything under control. But the smallest decision can still blow up your entire trip. And nothing proves that more than the smart little passport pouch everyone loves. It looks convenient, but it's actually the easiest thing to lose. You already have a backpack and a carry-on. Add a tiny pouch holding your most important items, and suddenly you've created the perfect target. Lose a backpack? Someone will likely spot it and turn it in. Lose a tiny pouch? It disappears instantly. Silent, unnoticed, unrecoverable. Thieves know this. They can grab it in one smooth motion and keep walking. And if that pouch holds your passport or boarding pass, your flight is gone. Your trip is gone. Everything you planned, gone. Protect your essentials the right way. Zipped inside a secure pocket attached to your body. Never dangling in a pouch that can vanish in a heartbeat. Mistake 2, the check-in delay that quietly cost you your seat. Most travelers assume checking in early isn't important. I'll do it later, they think. But that tiny delay is exactly how people lose their seats without warning. Airlines overbook constantly, and when they need to bump someone, they don't choose randomly. They look for passengers who seem least prepared. And nothing screams low priority louder than failing to check in online. Early check-in tells the airline, this traveler is here, this traveler is confirmed, this traveler stays on the list. Skip it, and you make yourself the easiest person to replace. On top of that, checking in early gives you better seat choices, earlier boarding, and sometimes small perks other travelers never see. And if you're flying with only carry-on, you can bypass the counter entirely and head straight to security like a pro. Wait too long, though, and you might hear the worst airport sentence. Sorry, your seat has been given away. Mistake 3, the overweight bag shock that embarrasses travelers. There's nothing quite like the moment your suitcase hits the airport scale and the agent gives you that look. Overweight. Sometimes by just 1 or 2 pounds, but enough to ruin your morning. Suddenly, you're left with 2 awful choices. Pay a painful fee, or unpack your belongings at the counter while everyone behind you watches. But here's the part that stings most. The extra weight is almost always avoidable. A full-size shampoo, shaving gel, and deodorant can add more than 2 pounds on their own. And the overweight fee? It's usually far more expensive than buying those same items at your destination. Travelers think they're saving money by packing everything from home, but they end up paying even more at the airport. Weigh your bags at home. Pack light. Pack smart. Or get ready to be the person kneeling on the airport floor, pulling out clothes in front of a crowd. Mistake 4, the seat mat mistake that locks you into misery. Imagine settling into your seat only to realize you've made the worst choice possible. You're stuck beside the bathroom for hours, constant foot traffic, nonstop noise, cramped leg room. And then you discover you don't even have a charging port. The flight hasn't taken off and you already regret everything. The sad truth? This is completely avoidable. Seat maps are public. A 2-minute search could save you from a miserable flight. Sites like Seat Guru show details airlines never highlight. Which seats don't recline, which ones have extra legroom, which ones sit next to galleys or restrooms. No secret tricks, just a little effort. Before you hit confirm, make sure you're not locking yourself into the worst hours of your entire trip. Mistake 5. The plastic wrap trap. Travelers don't see coming. Wrapping your suitcase in plastic looks smart at first. It feels protective and secure, like you're shielding your belongings from danger. But in reality, that shiny layer becomes a headache the moment something goes wrong. Imagine reaching the check-in counter and suddenly realizing your passport is inside your wrapped suitcase. Now you're frantically tearing through layers of cling film while the line behind you grows longer and more impatient. And here's what most travelers never think about. If airport staff need to inspect your bag, that wrap slows everything down. They hate dealing with it. And all that plastic? Straight into the trash. A TSA-approved lock or a reusable luggage cover protects your bag without the chaos, the waste, or the embarrassing wrestling match at the counter. Plastic wrap looks secure until it becomes your biggest problem. Mistake 6. The security line mistake that wastes your time. You finally make it to security, and instinct kicks in. Most travelers rush straight to the first checkpoint they see, usually the loudest, longest, most crowded line in the entire terminal. But here's the truth almost nobody realizes. The best security lanes are rarely the first. They're the last ones down the hall. Walk just a little farther, 30, maybe 50 feet, and you'll often find open lanes, fewer people, and officers who aren't overwhelmed. That small decision can save you 15 to 20 minutes of waiting and a whole lot of frustration. Don't follow the crowd. They're usually heading straight into the worst line. Follow the quiet. Follow the empty lanes. Your stress level will thank you for it. Mistake 7. The liquid rule mistake that gets travelers stopped. Everyone knows the rule. 3.4 ounces or less in a clear resealable bag. Yet travelers still get pulled aside, not because they don't understand the rule, but because they forget what they tossed into their bag at the last minute. That full-size shampoo? Gone. The expensive perfume you meant to pack in checked luggage? Gone. The big bottle with just a little left inside? Also gone. Here's the part most travelers don't realize. If the container is larger than 3.4 ounces, security will throw it out, even if it's almost empty. Officers don't measure what's inside. They judge the container. Save time and money by double-checking your liquids at home. Use real, travel-size bottles and keep everything in one visible bag. It takes seconds and prevents a frustrating, expensive start to your trip. Mistake 8. The duty-free trap that makes travelers miss their flight. You clear security and finally feel free. Time to browse, relax, maybe enjoy a little shopping. But this is exactly where countless travelers slip up. Duty-free zones are designed to distract you. They're huge on purpose, so big that you can wander for an hour without realizing how much time has passed. You get lost in perfume aisles, chocolate samples, glowing displays, and that's how people miss their boarding calls even when the gate is just down the hall. Airports want you lingering, your wallet open, your attention scattered. If you're not careful, that $20 souvenir turns into a $200 rebooking fee. So shop fast, set an alarm, and know your gate before you start wandering. Duty-free is fun until it costs you your flight. Mistake 9. The pre-flight food choice that turns your flight into a stomach nightmare. It always starts the same way. You spot something interesting to eat before your flight. Something new, spicy, or extra rich, and think, why not? But that tiny decision can ruin your entire time in the air. Trying exotic or heavy food right before takeoff is one of the worst mistakes travelers make. Your stomach has no idea how it's going to react, and a cramped airplane cabin is the last place you want to find out. Here's where it gets worse. At cruising altitude, cabin pressure drops. That makes gas inside your stomach expand, turning even a normal meal into bloating, discomfort, or nonstop indigestion. And anything salty, greasy, or unfamiliar can hit you even harder. If you want a comfortable flight, stick to something light and familiar, or choose foods known to reduce bloat, like turmeric, potatoes, or pineapple. Flying is uncomfortable enough. Don't turn it into a mid-air stomach battle. Mistake 10. The turbulence timing mistake that makes flyers miserable. Turbulence hits everyone differently. For some, it's a mild shake. For others, it's nausea, dizziness, and hours of discomfort. But here's what most travelers never realize. Timing your flight can make a huge difference. The smoothest flights are usually in winter, early morning, or late at night. Why? Because turbulence is caused by rising pockets of warm air. When the sun heats the earth, those air bubbles rise and stir the skies. Less sunlight means fewer rising currents, which means calmer air. It won't eliminate turbulence completely, but choosing earlier or later flights can dramatically reduce the bumps and save your stomach from flipping at 30,000 feet. If you're sensitive to turbulence, timing isn't a small detail. It's your secret weapon. Mistake 11. The airport germ zone travelers completely ignore. You do not have to be a germ freak to get hit by this one, because airports are basically a giant bacteria buffet. And the dirtiest thing you'll touch isn't the toilet, it's the plastic trays at security. Everyone tosses their shoes, belts, phones, and bags into them. Study after study has found those trays carry more germs than a public restroom, and travelers touch them without thinking, then rub their face, eat snacks, or board the plane. That's why a tiny bottle of sanitizer or a pack of wipes can save your entire trip. Wipe the tray, wipe your seat area, wipe your tray table, especially the tray table because people do far more than eat on those. 10 seconds of wiping could mean the difference between enjoying your vacation or spending it stuck in bed with a fever. Mistake 12. The jet lag mistake that 93% of travelers still make. Jet lag hits almost everyone, 93% of flyers. Yet most travelers do absolutely nothing to fight it. They just accept the exhaustion, the brain fog, the awful zombie feeling when they land. But a few tiny habits before and during your flight can completely change how you arrive. First, change your watch to the destination time before you land. It tricks your brain into adjusting early, and it works far better than people think. Second, split your sleep. Nap for half the flight, stay awake for the other half. It helps reset your internal clock instead of throwing it into chaos. Third, hydrate aggressively. Not sip, hydrate. And snack on water-rich foods like watermelon, cucumbers, or strawberries to keep your energy up. No one wants to land in paradise feeling drained and half alive. Prep your body before touchdown, and you'll actually enjoy your first day instead of sleepwalking through it. And that's the truth most travelers never hear. Your trip doesn't fall apart in the air. It falls apart before you even reach the gate. A tiny pouch, a late check-in, a crowded security line, one wrong meal. These are the quiet mistakes that ruin flights long before takeoff. But now you know exactly how to avoid them. Travel smart. Stay alert. Don't let an airport surprise decide the outcome of your trip. If this helped you spot even one mistake you might have made, hit like, share it with someone flying soon, and subscribe. Because there are far more airport traps out there that airlines will never warn you about. And trust me, you'll want to know them before your next flight.